Hello everybody, Tate Davis here with another album review for you. And what album are we going to be reviewing today, my friends? One I'm sure everybody watching this video knows pretty well. Look at it. Look at it. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles came out in 1967. I thought I'd review one that's a little bit more well known, rather than all the relatively obscure stuff that I've been reviewing lately. Although, I wouldn't call Black Sabbath relatively obscure, but the albums that I've been, well, the last one that I did, the Born Again album, wasn't as well known as I'd like to. So I figure, for now, we'll do a well-known one. This is I believe the 2009 vinyl edition of, for the remaster, the 2009 remaster edition for in the vinyl format of this one. So right here we have the cover, we have the back with all the lyrics. Yeah, we have John, Paul, George, and Ringo right here in their uniforms. And then we have some liner notes right here. I can read about that. We have that. So that's what's in the left gatefold. What's in the right pocket? What magic thing is on the right pocket here? Oh, we have a some kind of form right here. What is it? Cut out. It's kind of cool. This is, like I said, this is if you have the vinyl edition of the 2009 remaster of the album. And, of course, we have side 1, and then side 2. This was the last Beatles album to be released on EMI's Parlophone label and on Capitol Records in the United States. It was released on EMI Parlophone in the UK and then Capitol Records in the United States. The Beatles, I believe, for... I'm sorry, no, that's incorrect. I'm sorry, no, the Beatles wouldn't go on to form Apple Records until 1968. The White Album was the first Beatles album to be released on Apple Records. Excuse me, please disregard that last information. I'm sorry. But anyway, now that we've shown all the artwork out of the way, so obviously personnel, we have John Lennon on guitars and keyboard. Wait, hold on. Maybe if I look at the for each song, maybe I'll look to see if they have any personnel listings. Let's see. Oh, I also forgot to mention back here, there's kind of a diagram of who's all listed on the of all the celebrities listed on the album cover. But anyway, let's get on to the music. I'm not seeing any personnel for any particular song, so obviously I'll just kind of rattle off from what I remember from reading the Wikipedia article, or reading all the stuff from BeatlesBible.com. So, obviously, John Lennon on lead vocals and guitars and keyboards and synths and various instruments. Paul McCartney on bass and guitars and various instruments. George Harrison on vocals and guitars and various instruments. And Ringo on drums and various percussion instruments. So, like I said, I'll kind of rattle off as we go through the songs here, I'll kind of rattle off who I remember playing what instrument, because there's so many instruments, so many kind of, this is very, very much a studio, the Beatles used the recording studio to its fullest potential back in 1967 when they were recording this. It was recorded in Abbey Road Studios. The Beatles were kind of taking what they were doing on the Revolver album, using kind of the studio as an instrument, and taking that to the next level, because by this point they had stopped touring, they were tired of the screaming girls, and when they toured Japan in '66, the Japanese fans were really polite and quiet, and when the Beatles heard themselves play, they thought they sounded sloppy, and they decided that they were done touring. Paul McCartney, I think, went on a flight to Africa or something like that, and saw the Salt and Pepper Shakers, and had an idea, and kind of came up with the whole Sgt. Pepper idea where the Beatles would invent alter egos for themselves. Then they went to Abbey Road Studios and recorded all the songs in a matter of months. And A Day in the Life, I think, itself took like a day and a half or something like that to record. It was crazy, but a lot of instruments on here. This is obviously very different from the Beatles albums of the early 60s, where they would go in and play live and overdub a few things there, and from there they would kind of splice and dice takes. But this is very much, point is a little spiel here. The Beatles had stopped, since they were no longer a touring act, the Beatles could use the studio basically to make whatever kind of album they wanted to, and you know, this album was hugely influential in the way that it was recorded, with like all the like 4-track, I don't know, this was the first album that used 8-track or something like that, or they did a lot of things with tape that, you know, I'm not an audio guy, I don't know what the hell all that stuff is, but I think they used 4-track tape machine on this one. I might be wrong. I don't know. What I do know is that the U.S. version was released in stereo, which is what this is, and the U.K. version was released in mono. So, anyway, now with that out of the way, how about we get into the songs here? So, side 1, track 1, we have the title track, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Begins with the orchestra kind of warming up there. You know, Ringo playing a very simple drum part, accompanying the chugging guitar riff from either Paul, John, or George. I'm not really sure who plays that. It's probably Paul. And then Paul really giving probably, in my opinion, one of Paul's best vocal performances on any Beatles album. It was 20 years ago today, Sgt. Pepper told the band to play, you know. And then from it's just a great song. Wonderful introduction to the album. And from that, at the end of the song there, Paul introduces Billy Shears, which segs into With a Little Help from My Friends, sung by the one and only Ringo Starr. Ringo's drum fills on this song are very precise, which I like quite a bit. He sounds awesome on this song. Paul and John doing the really cool call and response vocals with Ringo on the third verse. I get with a little help from my friends, you know, a crowd pleaser at the end of Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band shows. Just a really good feel-good song. Joe Cocker's version is amazing too. Can't forget that. Completely changed it, turned it from a somewhat slower mid-tempo shuffle to a 6/8 time feel. Very good job there with Joe Cocker. But yeah, with a little help from my friends, great. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, side 1, track 3. We all know it. I think it was Julian Lennon that showed John a picture that he drew in art school that said Lucy in the Sky or something like that, or Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and John was inspired to write a song about it. I don't know if that's supposed to be code name for LSD, I'm not sure. From lyrics such as, picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine trees and marmalade skies. I mean, I could certainly understand why a lot of fans who bought this album back in '67 would think that John was on LSD when he wrote it, but nonetheless, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is a classic for a reason. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, really catchy there. Ringo really solid as ever. Those quarter notes on the snare drum and floor tom there. Yeah, great. It's awesome. Side 1, track 4, Getting Better. It's getting better all the time. Very percussive shuffle kind of feel. I believe it's Ringo that plays the bongos in this tune. Yeah, wonderful feel-good song written by Paul. Nothing really much to say there. It's getting better all the time. That being said, despite the cheerful nature of it, the lyrics are kind of depressing a little bit. You know, at one part it talks about the protagonist kind of beating his woman, what he used to do. Now it's supposed to get better, but yeah. That's a little depressing right there. But other than that, you know, getting better, it's great. I love it. 5 stars out of 5 stars for that one. Really good tune. Side 1, track 6. Wait, hold on. Yeah, side 1, track 5. Fixing a Hole. Yeah, I love Fixing a Hole. Fixing a hole where the rain comes in. Another great vocal performance by Paul here. Again, kind of a real kind of a slower shuffle feel. It's kind of similar to the previous track, and with a little help from my friends. Again, I don't know if it's about drugs or not. I think the controversy with this song when it was released is that it was kind of a slang term for heroin or something like that, I think it was heroin. I might be wrong. But George Martin, I believe, plays the harpsichord in the song. Harpsichord. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Wonderful Time Creeping by Ringo here. Great song. Yeah. Stops my mind from wondering where it will go. She's Leaving Home. Yeah, She's Leaving Home is great too. Probably, in my opinion, one of the weaker songs on the album. I believe this was inspired when John was reading an article about a woman who had gone missing in London and decided to write a song about it. You know, wonderful harp playing by I knew her name at one point. I forgot her name, but yeah, great harmonies by Paul and John on this one, and she's leaving home, bye bye. Yeah, it's a feel good tune, but probably one of my least favorites on the album. And to close off side 1, we have Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. This is a John Lennon penned song that he got inspiration from like an 1840s era circus poster, which was pretty cool. This is the one that references Henry the Horse, which a lot of people thought was a reference to heroin use. Yeah, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. So Henry the Horse dances the waltz, dun 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 dun. You know, a lot of wonderful instrumentation in this one, and yeah, great way to close off side 1, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite. Side 2, track 1. I know I'm gonna get a lot of people that are gonna disagree with me with this. And this is George's only song on the album that he gets. This is also the longest song on the album. I will be completely honest, and like I said, I can totally understand why you would disagree with me. I never liked Within You Without You. I mean, yes, this is George going to India and befriending Ravi Shankar and, you know, using Indian musicians on it, which it's great. You know, it's cool. But it's just, Indian music's just too weird for me. I'm sorry. I've tried, folks. I've tried to get into this song. I honestly think that if this song were removed, if they never put this song on the album and I listened to it, I would not lose sleep over it. But if I wanted to listen to a George Harrison penned Beatles song with Indian influence, I'd just listen to The Inner Light. Because for one thing, The Inner Light is shorter, and it's not... and it just doesn't drag on. I'm sorry, Within You Without You just kind of drags on. I don't know. I'm sorry. There's just not enough redeeming qualities about this song for to make me like it. I'm sorry, but this is easily my least favorite song on the album. In my opinion, Sgt. Pepper would have been better if it were left off the album, but again, please don't. I know a lot of people are going to want me crucified for saying that, but hey, we're all entitled to our opinions, are we? And I'm probably going to get a bunch of angry Beatles fans shouting in the comments, "Oh, that bastard Tate Davis, he doesn't like Within You Without You. God dang it, gosh darn it, George Harrison was the best Beatle." Or something to that. I just made my subscribers sound like a redneck from Tuscaloosa or something like that. I don't know. But, okay. Side 2, track 2, When I'm 64. Yeah. Very music hall, jazz, kind of old ragtime kind of tune, written by Paul. Yeah, great song, very fun song. This one had a bit of controversy when it, after it was released, because for doing the garden, digging the weeds for obviously that's marijuana. Great brushwork by Ringo on this tune. I love the clarinet sound on this one. I think a clarinet quartet plays on When I'm 64. Yeah, great vocals by Paul. Great song. Probably my favorite song on the album, side 2, track 3, Lovely Rita. I love Lovely Rita. Paul wrote this one, I believe, when he got a parking ticket or something like that by a female police officer, or meter maids, as the British people called them back at that time. Ringo's drum fill Ringo's little one-bar drum fill at the end of or towards the middle of the song rather, is just really perfectly orchestrated. Ringo again. This album is full of perfectly orchestrated Ringo Starr drum parts on here. Yeah, good harmonies here with Paul and John. Lovely Rita, Mita, yeah. Love Lovely Rita. Probably one of my favorites on the album. Good morning, good morning. This is the Beatles trying to sort of copy the title track to the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds album. I believe John wrote this one after seeing a Saturday morning breakfast commercial or something like that. No, I love Good Morning, Good Morning. One of my favorite guitar solos of all time is on this one, and I believe it's played by Paul. It's either played by Paul or George. I'm not sure. Some people say it's Paul, some people say it's George. Shifting time signatures in this song is great. Good morning, good morning. Love John's vocal performance in this one. Definitely great. Good morning, good morning. It's great. Alright. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Reprise. Solid groove laid down by Ringo here. Kind of thanking everybody for listening to the album. Thanking everybody for having to put up with the crap that is Within You Without You. Yeah, nothing much to say here. It's only about a minute and a half long. Again, perfectly orchestrated Ringo Starr drum parts here. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts. And then we come to the last one, A Day in the Life. I believe it was taken, this was kind of the combination of two different songs that John and Paul were working on. Again, Ringo Starr orchestrating his drum parts like a great musician would, like a great drummer would. Kind of using the orchestra here. That love Paul's part. Love Paul's kind of dreamy part of the song here. Woke up, fell out of bed, dragged a comb across my head, and got late, missed the bus, and smoked. That's good. And that final chord, perfect way to close out the album. I believe that final chord was a combination of all four Beatles playing a piano plus the orchestra. Excuse me, plus the orchestra. And, yeah, just kind of how it fades off into the distance there, and then after that you kind of get that repeating feedback or something like that of the tape loop of that end of that. I don't know quite what it's saying there, but a day in the life, easily one of the greatest songs of all time. Again, one of my favorite Ringo Starr drum parts on this one. Ringo described his performance on the song as kind of like a painter painting, which I think is kind of interesting. But no, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I like this album quite a bit. It's not my favorite Beatles album. I know this is probably considered, this is what Rolling Stone considers to be the greatest album of all time, and I can understand it. I pretty much like every song on this album except for Within You Without You. So obviously Within You Without You is my least favorite of this one, and my favorite on here is probably Lovely Rita, I'd say. But again, please don't be offended since I don't like Within You Without You. I have a huge amount of respect for George Harrison. It's just, I think this album would have been a lot better without this album, or just without that song, and it just kind of drags on. And I know I'm going to get a lot of people that are wanting to crucify me in the comments for saying that, but I'm sorry. I'm entitled to my opinion here, and you are too. But with that being said, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this album review. More stuff like this coming in the near future, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.